Do we ever get the full picture of what happens behind bars?
Don't seem to. We've just learnt that Cleveland Dodd, the Aboriginal child that killed himself whilst inside a maximum security jail built for adults, allegedly warned guards he was going to do it not once, but twice. And these conversations were not vague, open to interpretation exchanges. He apparently said he was going to hang himself. And then he said he was going to hang himself from a broken air vent in the cell.
Very specific.
No nuance there. The broken air vent, incidentally, should have been fixed that day, but for some reason workers failed to complete the job. One of many instances of incompleteness in this sorry episode.
Sounds like a lot of mistakes were made.
What are you talking about? Everyone involved conducted themselves exceptionally well in very confronting circumstances.
I understand they have conducted themselves exceptionally well in very confronting circumstances.
That was WA Minister for Corrective Services Paul Papalia a few hours after Dodd's suicide attempt and a week before the boy died in hospital.
He's regretting saying that now.
And this.
It was only a matter of minutes from that moment until he was checked and found to be unresponsive, and the officers commenced resuscitation, and they were able to successfully regain a pulse.
When someone says matter of minutes, how many minutes do you think of?
2, 3 minutes?
This was 16. That's not a matter of minutes, it's more than a quarter of an hour. Watch 3 episodes of this show back to back and tell me it feels like a few minutes.
Papalia says he got bad advice.
Ministers get bad advice all the time. We pay them to identify poor counsel and ignore it, not repeat it. A government department in damage control is an untrustworthy beast, and there was a lot of damage to control with this one. A guard literally asleep at the wheel on that fatal night, and a complete lack of urgency from the ones who were awake because they couldn't see what was happening in Dodd's cell. He had obscured the CCTV as part of a sophisticated anti-surveillance operation in which he put toilet paper over the camera.
So to see what was going on,
you had to physically look through the cell window, which a guard did.
Eventually.
The officer who was doing the rounds didn't rush over to Dodd's cell after the suicide warnings were allegedly made because the control room couldn't talk to the guard, because they weren't in possession of a sophisticated communication system known as a walkie-talkie. The Department of Corrections forgot to include that detail in its first press release on the matter. It said a 16-year-old was observed to be unresponsive in his cell during routine checks.
But if they had been warned, how's it routine?
Because old mate Gary the guard had no idea that Dodd had threatened to kill himself because nobody could be asked going to Dick Smith's to buy some two-way radios. But even allowing for a lack of information in a fresh case, it's a bit cute by the department, which Papalia seems to have soon realised because his fawning statement on the TV news on October 12 morphed into ever tougher language.
Well, another reason for Roger Cook to feel sick.
And Rita. I feel sorry for him, not so much for her. Rita should not have been in Japan. When was the last time an Australian Premier travelled abroad and took the deputy along for the ride? Never. Because the whole point of having a deputy is they're around to run the place when you're not there.
I'm Ben O'Shea.
Rita wanted a nice little junket overseas. The Premier should have told her that was never going to happen.
Roger didn't say that.
Because he knew Rita would say this.
You owe me.
Because when she withdrew from the contest for the premiership, she cleared the way for the member for Kwinana. So now our designated survivor has version 8 of the spicy cough as well.
This is not a quid pro quo. This is you do what I say when I say it, or you suffer the consequences.
Well, we all hope they get better.
Most of us hope they get better.
Well, they're not the only politicians who've been travelling.
If the war in Gaza didn't have us at 1 minute to midnight on the doomsday clock, then this picture will probably get us there. Scott Morrison has taken it upon himself to go to Israel in a show of support for Tel Aviv.
That's it? That's the best you got?
The bloke whose silky diplomatic skills triggered a 3-year trade war with China is now helping fix the Middle East.
Scary.
Gets better. Guess who's helping him?
Who?
Mr. Brexit himself.
We're doomed.
Yeah.
I'm Ben Harvey.
Two young girls, they mattered to people.
There's unexpected turns and unexpected results.